When you think about content creating on YouTube, you think it's a fancy job on the outside, jumping from one plane to the other, jumping on trains, attending one game after the other in UK or Europe. But the truth is, that's not true. So in this show, YouTubers Exposed, we will invite YouTubers so they can share with us the reality, the hidden challenges, the sacrifices that they take in order to be where they are today and what they face with online comments on these channels. My first invited person is a great Aston Villa YouTuber, Josh, with his channel, A View from the Stand. All right. Welcome, Josh, to the first episode. I'm happy to have you as my first guest in the YouTubers Exposed, as you have seen, the lovely name that I've picked for this show. And I'm really happy to have you as my first guest today.
No, thank you for having me on. Privileged to be on the first episode and looking forward to seeing how your series grows over time. So yeah, thank you for having me on.
And hopefully we will expose you today, but not in a bad way.
Absolutely.
So as I've shared already, the goal of the show and the goal of this series is to show the hard work and the dedication, the commitment behind every YouTuber, because on the outside it seems like a fancy job, it seems like private VIP tickets and everything, but I want to show the world. But before we jump into YouTube, I want to start with the human part, as we joked about what was your name, because I knew A View from the Stand, but I didn't know your name. Can you tell us a little bit about your human side? What's your name? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously my name is Josh and I'm 28 years old, 29 this year. And I guess what about me is that I guess people, whenever I tell them what my job is, when they're asking me when I'm on YouTube what to do, it does shock them. And essentially I am a school teacher. And work at a secondary school in a sort of middle leader role, pastoral, head of house. So, you know, there is this sort of responsibility that I have in my day-to-day job, all about the welfare of students, all about the pastoral support, all about attendance, behaviour, and that comes with a big package and a lot of the emotional package as well. But that's sort of me. But you know, I've football has always been like an obsession, a passion of mine. You know, when I was at school, when I was at sixth form, when I was at university, people always used to, you know, always think that the conversation start with me had to be about football.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's my passion and life. And obviously there's more to me than that, but, you know, like anyone, I could sit and talk about football forever. So yeah, that's sort of me in a nutshell, really. Just a school teacher who loves football.
A school teacher who can speak until tomorrow about football, just like me, a guy in tech industry who speaks till tomorrow about football. And that brings me to a general question in the beginning. What is your first football memory? The earliest memory?
Cool. So my first earliest memory is listening to football on the school bus when I was in primary school, I think for the 2002 World Cup in South Korea and Japan. I remember that we had swimming. I remember they'd put on the radio and it was the Brazil-England game, and I just remember the bus driver had really turned that up, and from there then I started getting into I remember watching the ITV show. I can't remember the title of it now, which had Des Lyman running it. And I remember seeing a bloke called Thierry Henry score. But of course, I saw his back of his shirt as Henry. Yeah. And I was very confused as to why the commentator wasn't referring to him as Henry. And just this sort of like bubble lifestyle I lived, just assumed he was this an English bloke called Henry, and the commentators weren't pronounced it right. But first ever football game that I did go watch live was Aston Villa versus Manchester United. It was the last game of the season. Manchester United won the game 2-1. Cristiano Ronaldo and Darren Fletcher both got sent off, and you know, I remember that day like, you know, it was yesterday, your first ever time walking into a football stadium, and that impact of what it can do for the rest of your life, and that bug that I still have now of going to football grounds. Amazing.
Well, the coincidence is the first game I attended on site in Old Trafford was Man United versus Villa. It was last year, because I grew up in Tunisia, not close to Manchester. And now that I live in Ireland, I was close, and I went and we lost 1-0. It was when Bruno missed that last
I
penalty.
remember. Oh yeah, and Emi Martinez done his little dance. And I think it's Courtney Hawes who scored for Villa.
We're square. We're square. All good. And who was your favorite player as a child, sir?
David Beckham.
Ooh.
Though he was an Aston Villa player, being an Aston Villa fan, David Beckham was my role model, my hero, the iconic moments. But if I had to pick an Aston Villa player who I adored and worshipped growing up, it would probably be someone like Juan Pablo Angel, striker, Colombian. David Beckham still is like my hero, role model to this day.
And last one in these general questions. This is tough. World Cup for England or Premier League for Villa?
I would say, after seeing the celebrations of the Argentinians and the parties and the feel-good factor it can do to a nation, I think a World Cup might just edge it for me, but it would change all the time. But I think World Cup at the moment, after just having the recent one, would be the one for me.
Tough one. Yeah. Okay, thank you. This is like my first high-level questions, but if we jump into the topic of YouTube, and I've did some research, I looked into the channel in detail, did my homework, and the 16th of January 2021 was the first video. What are the earliest memories from YouTube at the time, not knowing what you're doing? You jumped on the YouTube channel and you created a video. What do you remember from that date?
Yeah, so I remember that I've been wanting to do a YouTube channel for a couple of years, and I was always watching people and listening to people and thought, I can do that. I believed that I could do it, but never done it. So I sort of asked a friend whether we'd do a joint channel. His name's called Tom, who appears on the first video. And we basically decided to do a video together and try and build a channel together. And I said it'd be great to use 2 people to market as opposed to 1. And I just remember it was quite good. It was a natural conversation. Of course, as you said, 2021, the midst of that second COVID sort of batch where things were restricted, things were tough, and football was dying out basically, and those restrictions. So yeah, that was an interesting one. And I remember just really getting a buzz from doing that first video. And from there, you get that bug of wanting to do more.
Yeah, exactly. And wanting to do more brings me to 2023, 24 months later. We're in like mid-January, going like 2 years of doing a view from the stand. Over 7,000 subscribers on YouTube. Over 1 million views for all the videos. And this is just YouTube. I didn't look at the other platforms. And a Football Content Award winner. So that probably, if I'm a new subscriber, I'd look at these things and these fancy numbers. But how was the journey to get there in these 2 years, from 0 to 7,000, from 0 to Football Content Award winner? What are the main challenges you faced, and what are the main sacrifices you had to take? Especially, you said you're a teacher, you have your life out there and everything, and people can make their own assumptions about you making this content and being visible. So from January 2021, January 2023, 7,000 subscribers, 1 million views, etc. Josh, in between, what are the sacrifices and the challenges you went through?
Yeah, it's a really good question, that Khalid. I would say that biggest sacrifice you have to give, and the way that my channel is predominantly a watch-along channel with football vlogs, is time. So you have to be willing to have someone who allows you to give up time. And I must say I'm very grateful that my partner, who I'm actually marrying this year, which sounds really crazy to say, but yeah, allows me that time to give up my evenings for a couple of hours in the week to do watch-alongs. We've also got the weekend stuff as well, and there's all that sort of that is a massive sacrifice. Now for me personally, do I see it as a sacrifice myself to go, I'm having to give up my time? No, because I love doing it, right? But it's the sacrifice that you put others through. Same with your friends when I'm doing the match day vlogs. There's always those sort of conundrums in your head of you have to do it. And look, it's a very competitive market. What I do, there's lots of watch-alongs that happen. When I first started the channel, they were quite my cameras.
Yeah.
Cameras.
It froze a little bit.
There we go.
You're back.
So I was saying that when we first started out on the channel, the watch-alongs weren't that rare. Actually, there weren't many people doing watch-alongs, and that sort of got more popular in the last couple of times. And of course, matchday vlogs, there are a lot more football vloggers. So I'm not in and as you know, we're not in like a unique USP, market. But what we are in is a market that I believe people crave that sort of content. They love that interaction, and that's really important. So yeah, time has been a big sacrifice, and then I also believe you've got to put money into. You've got to actually put your own hard put money in to grow, and that's the bottom line. Yeah, if you could just sit there with a phone and speak into a camera and create something and be able to maybe bash up a thumbnail, but the bottom line is that, as I've just alluded to stand out, things have got to be different. I've got this green thing behind me now, which I started off doing a watch along, sat in an armchair with with Apple headphones in, speaking into the microphone there, with a laptop balanced on two cushions. Fast forward now, I've got a green screen, I've got a desk, I've got a lamp, I've got a good quality mic, I've got, all these different stuff. Just bought a new laptop because you have to put in football tickets, you have to put in to go to the games. So there is that. I think sacrificing money and time is the biggest thing, and sometimes people overlook that sort of concept.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest assumptions people have, that we as content creators get free tickets. Absolutely. And with watch-alongs, and I was in your watch-along a little bit yesterday with few minutes with the Spurs, and I'm so happy for the win, by the way. Congratulations again, amazing win. Unfortunately, with posting content on the internet, everybody has their opinion, to write you comments, to write you text messages, to DM you things and write whatever they want, their opinions. There comes the troll, and sometimes, unfortunately, there comes some hate comments, there comes some weird comments. How do you deal with these comments as one of the challenges as a content creator? Before, when you started, and now probably with more maturity, probably it's the same challenge. How do you deal with these part of comments, and let's say hate comments or troll comments?
So I think having my teaching background really helps, because I'm in a pastoral element where I'm dealing with either bullying, I'm dealing with kids being upset, I'm dealing with mental health issues, I'm dealing with, a big spectrum of sort of human emotion. And yeah, I have had the odd, not very nice comment. And sometimes actually I find those easier to deal with, because I look at it and go, the deeper root of that person, if that person is having to come and exasperate their emotions and frustrations and verbals on a platform behind a keyboard, they're not happy with themselves, they're not happy with their own life. There is deeper mental health issues there, which for me is something that I can actually just go, I feel sorry for that person, I don't take the things too badly. I guess the other end of it is actually maybe the ones where I struggle more with are people who are quite forceful with their opinions. And really, try and shut you down, but also shut other people down. And I find those people more difficult, because of course you want to welcome people onto your platform. Of course you want people to, watch your content. It's really important. But I'm all about, especially in the watch-alongs, a community where people feel content, safe and happy. And, that's sort of shown in the fact that, I've now got 46 members on the channel, so 46 people paying members, and we call it a clan. We call it a clan, a bit of a unit, and that's because people come on and just feel safe and content. And I feel like that's had to be built up. So when you get the odd person who comes in and is not a troll, but actually someone who's quite forceful and can almost put the mood in a weird way in the chat, I find that more difficult to navigate, because in the end I would just want to be like, can you click off my video please and take your opinions elsewhere? But you try and work with it and you try and give them a chance. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the difficult of comments.
Interesting. And one of my last questions would be, we spoke about the early start in 2021 with that first video with Tom. Is there something that you would say, I wish I knew this when I started 2 years ago content creating?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one, that. So we went down the avenue, I went down the avenue when I went solo, of making this channel more of a watch-along channel, but always knew that I wanted to do matchday vlogs when stadiums opened up again. The problem is that with my channel, people are either subscribing for the watch-alongs, or they're subscribing because they enjoy the vlogs. And so therefore it's really like interesting when you look back and think about it. It's like, should I have just tailored to one? I've combined both, and actually would there be a different outcome in different types of videos, etc. And it's something that I'm still thinking about now, is whether I have a second channel, one for lives and one for vlogs only, and that sort of stuff. And it is, to be fair, as people always say, you've got to understand how YouTube works, the algorithm, the tags, the thumbnails, the keywords. Like, it's not just upload a video. There's a little bit of an art to what you need to do and when you need to do it. So yeah, if I was to look back, it's probably I did a little bit of research, but actually could have done even more. So I've been really prepared for what's ahead. But the beauty is that you're still learning. There's still an evolution of learning. So yeah, that's probably what I would look back and say now. Yeah.
Amazing, and that's what's really driving the growth, the organic growth later, because you know how it works. Because if you just think about it, it's upload and it will work. It's not. Welcome to the real life. Great. It was a pleasure chatting to you. It was a pleasure to have these discussions. I hope we will bring awareness, bring learnings with your inputs, with your insights to people watching who want to go through content creating.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you again, Josh. Looking forward to a future collaboration, and it was a pleasure to chat to you, and hopefully we bring more learnings to people watching us. And thank you very much for the late talk, and talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you like this content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel for these videos to keep coming. Hit that like button and comment below who should be my next guest. My next guest is already in the making, and the episode is with a YouTuber based in Germany, and he will be Fiago, telling us how he reached 250,000 subscribers in less than a year and the challenge behind it. Please subscribe to the channel and comment below with any other famous YouTubers that you would like me to invite and tag them along.